Yeah, we have a lot of respect for Oklahoma's program. Starts with Coach Kruger, somebody that's won wherever he's ever been. He's basically built the national level program at Oklahoma, just Final Four a couple years ago, and now right back in the mix. So he's just a great coach that we have a lot of respect for. And then the talented roster, obviously Trey Young gets a lot of credit, which he deserves, but they also have some other really good players on their roster. So they beat us convincingly in our first game in Norman. And so there's a lot of things that we've got to do better to have a chance to compete in this game tomorrow night. And that's our intention, to play well. In the first game, Trey still got his. I thought in the first half we were a little bit more focused. We made it tough on him. We did a good job not fouling him around the basket. The second half, things got away from us. Give him the credit. Might not have been necessarily what we did wrong, but what they did right. He got loose on a couple out-of-bounds plays, and then once he sees the ball go in, the basket gets huge for him. He's such a great offensive player. The other day in K-State, I thought was one of our more consistent defensive efforts. Not sure if we played a full 40 minutes, but at least on the defensive side of the ball, we probably played 35, 36 minutes, about as well as we can play. So you hope that there's carryover. You never know. Each game is so different, but certainly we want to be playing our best basketball as the year goes on, and it seems like our team is getting better in the last couple of weeks.
I know it was asked the first time around, but Rayford's coming back to Lubbock. Have you spoken to him? And I guess what have you all talked about kind of coming into this, just knowing that he's going to kind of be able to come back to Lubbock and kind of enjoy that?
No, I haven't talked to Rayford.
Coach, the last two games you guys have held Iowa State and K-State's under 20% from three, and then the game before that against TCU, they only made 5. You guys have obviously been good at three-point defense all year, but what do you think it's been these last 3 games where it seems like you guys have really kind of maybe ratcheted up even a notch better?
Well, basketball is a game of making shots in its simplest form, so I think we've been fortunate the last few games. I think TCU and Iowa State and Kansas State would all tell you they had some good shots that didn't fall. That's just basketball, so that's number one. But number two, I think you do got to give our guys some credit. We are putting an emphasis on contesting three-point shots. We don't want to give just easy shots to the best shooters on the other team. So I think it's a combination. We've been fortunate as of late, which you have to be in this game. And then number two, it is a defensive focal point from our guys to try to pressure shooters.
Also wanted to ask you about Justin and just the kind of defense he's playing right now. You guys have kind of him playing so many different roles, whether it be in the post and the wing, out on the perimeter. How good has he been with you guys just to ask him to defend so many different kind of positions right now?
Yeah, I think Justin's having a great season. Basically what he's doing is exactly what we've asked of him. He's a senior and he's concerned with one thing. There's only one thing he's concerned about, and that's winning. And that's just evident the way he's playing. Basically he's playing out of position right now for portions of the game with Zach being out. We've asked Justin to play a lot of forward and power forward, and Justin's more of a swingman or big guard is what he is. He's one of our better passers. He leads our team in assist screens. He's willing to guard different people. He's come up with some high-level offensive rebounds. He's had some offensive moments when the team needs scoring that he stepped up. So I think he's having probably one of the most unselfish seasons of anybody ever coached. And he's always ready when his number's called. So then the thing that he would never tell you, because Justin's a guy that's not going to make excuses, he's not completely healthy. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality. I'm answering the question. Justin Gray's probably playing around 80% right now, healthy. And so I have a lot of respect for him and how he's going about his business.
In that first game against Oklahoma, that was the first game you had to deal with Zach not being there at all. And so now that you've had a month to kind of adjust and, players have stepped up and what happened, how do you feel about your team now going into this next game?
Well, I think I'm proud of the guys. We talk a lot about mental toughness in our program. We talk a lot about overcoming adversity. We talk about, tough times are going to pass and tough people last. And probably one of the best examples that I can ever think of is what we've done in the past several weeks without Zach. I mean, Zach's one of our best players. He's one of our leaders. And to try to perform in this league without him has been very difficult. But I'll give our guys a lot of credit, and it's been a real team effort. We told the guys when it was evident that Zach was going to be out, we're not going to be able to replace those 15, 16 points or 9, 10 rebounds or 3 or 4 block shots or 5 or 6 assists with just one person. Everybody in this room has got to step up. We need everybody in this room to score 1 or 2 more points. We need everybody in this room to be willing to get 2 or 3 more rebounds. We need everybody in this room to go block a shot or take a charge because we don't have Zach. I think that's exactly what's happened. I don't think there's any one player that's really elevated themselves in a whole nother level, but I think each guy on our team has picked up the slack. And so, that's been nice to see. I would much rather be doing this with Zach, but that's not how life works. Sometimes you have some adversity and you got to fight through it. And I also recognize Zach's role in this team. Just because he's not playing in the games doesn't mean he's not helping us. He's been dialed in every day in practice. He's vocal during practice and in games. And I think he's done a lot of things behind the scenes with our younger guys that I probably don't even know about in terms of instilling confidence in those guys, and teaching them tricks of the trade on how to get things done. So I would tell you that Zach's a big part of our team, even though he's not playing in games right now.
We'll go to John here.
Coach, the last few games of the last 3 of the 6-game win streak, you've had at least 3 players in double figures. Would you say that's the biggest attribute to your success?
I would say that's a necessity. It's really it's hard to find a Big 12 box score where somebody's fortunate enough to win in this league, where you don't have 3-4 guys in double figures. Even a team like Oklahoma, where Trey can go score 40, they're not winning unless they got that second, third, fourth guy. And so certainly with us, it's the way we try to recruit and build our teams. We want to have balance. In a perfect world, we'd like to have 5 guys double figures average, and we'd like to have 6th, 7th, 8th men that are capable any night of getting 10, 11, 12 points. On our big nights, that's what's happened. We always have 3 or 4 guys in double figures, and we got the next tier guys 8, 9 points. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I think that's been a part of our recent success, is offensive balance.
Trey Young, specifically, obviously, has a ton of the spotlight, but what specifically do you think could be problematic for your defense with his skill set?
Well, Trey's just a great player that can get you in a lot of different ways. A lot of times in college, you'll have a special player that maybe is a great shooter, but maybe you can make him drive, or maybe he's a great rebounder, but maybe you can block him out with 2 people. But with Trey, it's very difficult to pick your poison because he can beat you from the 3-point line shooting. He can beat you with the assist, or he can beat you getting to the free throw line. So he's really a guy that can do it at all 3 different levels. So it's just really challenging from a coaching standpoint.
When you watch Oklahoma games, specifically on ESPN, they have the Trey Young stat counter. Over the past few games for you guys, Keenan Evans has really stepped up. Do you think it's time that the nation starts paying attention to his play and maybe even have a stat counter for him?
Well, you guys have been following me for 2 years now. I don't care. I don't know that. All I care about is the next game on the schedule. So we've got practice here in about 40 minutes. We got to get our team better. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, we got to try to protect our home court against one of the best teams in the country with a Hall of Fame coach. So rankings and TV and personal attention, whether it be our guys or somebody else, it's just not my deal.
A couple more, we'll go Sean here.
Coach, talk about how important the fans are going to be tomorrow with a whiteout and how important then angry atmosphere is going to be for you guys to help beat OU.
Why does it have to be angry?
Intense.
Yeah. What's the guy's name in semi-pro? Jackie Moon. Everybody love everybody. ELE. No, our home court's everything. As we build the program, it's our 2nd year, and we've come a long ways, but we got a long ways to go. And we just got to get to the point where every game we have a home court advantage. And that's been so pleasing the last couple months, as our crowds have continued to improve. Now we got to the point where there's sellouts. And now comes the next level of responsibility for everybody. Please get to the game early. The game's at 6 o'clock. I know that's a problem with some people getting off work and stuff like that, but we've only got a few of these left at home, and our guys need your support. So, the message would be to get to the game early and wear white to support the whiteout, and cheer for our team as hard as you can while showing respect for the other team as well.
Anything else for Coach? Wrap it up with Carlos.
I know you talked about the balance. Everyone kind of focuses on Trey Young, but I guess how have you seen Rashard Odoms, Brady Manick, and kind of the rest of their kind of cast really step in and kind of take some of the scoring load off to where it seems like he's kind of getting them shots, and then he's kind of not necessarily having to score those 30-plus points now?
Yeah, Oklahoma's always had good players. Last year they had a really good team that was really close from being kind of an NCAA tournament team, very similar to our run in a lot of ways, but they were doing it with young guys. So this was a talented roster that the coaches themselves picked, before Trey ever signed with Oklahoma to be a good team. So I think Trey has only made their team better. But they've got two of the best interior players in the conference. They have great outside shooting. They have big guards. And so, they've got a great roster. It's not just Trey. And so we respect everybody on their roster. We're game planning for all these guys, not just their point guard.